the cloud. All right. In three, two, one. And it's Essihos, right? I always
Yeah. Yeah.
Essihos. All right.
Yeah.
All right. In three, two, one. Lance Essihos, welcome to the Happy Hustle Podcast, my brother. I am super stoked to connect.
Yeah, brother. Good to be here, man. Really
Yeah,
good to be here.
dude, I'm really pumped about this one. First of all, you're a top-rated podcast host. You're a rock star online entrepreneur. You're an author with your new book coming out. You got so much going on. But what's something interesting about you, Lance, that not too many people know?
Oh,
Yep.
depends how deep we want to go.
Deep as you want.
Yeah, I mean, some know, some don't. I mean, I used to be a hockey player, so I used to, trying to make it to the NHL, but never ended up doing it. And yeah, I ended up becoming a bartender after that. So I really sometimes it's funny depending on when people meet me on the timeline. They see me
Yeah.
as this person or that person, and I always find that interesting because they're like, "Oh shit, you did that," or you were a hockey player. And it's like, yeah, it's funny how we over time, when you do meet people at certain times, how they know you as, and when you bring up the past, it's usually pretty funny.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's so true. I equally was trying to play pro soccer and then ended up, breaking my ankle, tearing my ACL, and then ended up bartending.
Yeah.
So, a similar path in that regard. And you know what, though? Like being in the service industry teaches you so
Mm,
much about people, about, empathy and respect, also disrespect. There's so many
yeah,
lessons that you can
dude.
extract from the service industry, right? What was your greatest lesson from the service industry?
Well, bro, other than being able to make the best old fashioned that ever
Oh, me too. I love old fashions.
or I mean, I got so deep into cocktails, man, that it became like an art for me. Like it was just insane. Like in Sydney, Australia, I was working in some really incredible bars, and man, it was good times. Um, but I would say, this is a great question because I tried to figure out in the first place, what drawn me to getting into podcasting and what drove me into going into bartending and what I liked about that industry. And it wasn't all the crazy partying. That was all fun, but it was really the human connection.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, I really enjoyed having somebody come to the bar, having somebody sit down, you know, they're summing you up a little bit. They're like, who's this asshole or whatever, they're
Yeah.
looking at you. And
Yeah.
then you're like, okay, all right. All right. And then by the end, they're like high-fiving you. Cause they're like,
Yeah.
I guess what I really enjoyed was like breaking those barriers and like
Mm.
really once you find out and you learn about these people, they all have a story and they all love to open up, even though they have these defense mechanisms up. And I always found that really interesting, that to crack the shell. And it was really, yeah, I love giving somebody a really good experience, you
Mm.
know? And I used to say to the bartenders, I was like, your job is to help them feel better than they did before,
Yeah.
like, don't make them feel worse than before, like lift them up. Their job
Yeah.
is to come, they want to come here, your job is to give them an experience and help them feel better than they did before. And that was really what I prided myself on, and anybody that worked for me, and that was what I said too. So that's what I loved, man. And it's been able to kind of transfer over to podcasting, and because you deal with the same sort of energy sometimes, right? So
Yeah. So true, man. Like giving people a positive experience, for me, it was it was similar in that sense of just building a connection,
yeah,
adding value, giving them, insights or tips or like opportunities or local recommendations. There's a lot there. And
yeah.
also, I would do a whole shake routine like cocktail and like throw it up. And I had on like, sometimes like I got a weird, I got flown around for doing, I pretended like I could flare bartend too, so I would get
Really?
flown to the DR, the Bahamas, Miami, like, LA, like
No way.
yeah, it was a good trip, like I gotta say, you make some good coin in bartending too. Like
Dude.
it was fun. So Anyway, let's talk about adversity, bro. I want to get into hard pivot.
Yeah.
I want to get into actually mastering adversity, which is the title of your new book, right? Let's talk about, and you host the University of Adversity podcast. You've had on some rock star, like amazing guests, really. And your podcast is top rated in the world of, entrepreneurship and self-improvement. Talk to us about some of your greatest lessons learned from your guests of mastering adversity. Who really resonates for you? And tell us that lesson that you learned from them.
I appreciate it, brother. And you were a
Yeah.
very, very valued guest as well. People loved our episode. So if you guys make sure to go check that out. Man, you know what? Like the title for this book was interesting because I really wanted to capture, what I do with the podcast, my own life. And, I don't think we ever master it. I think it's a journey of mastering. And it's really just, I feel like it's getting really having a better understanding of ourselves first. And it's that self-awareness that allows us to really look at and master anything that we're doing, including adversity. Adversity shows up in all the areas of our lives. And the lesson that I've probably learned from people is that it's essential. Like adversity is essential to growth. It reveals character. It is one of these things that the people who have had the greatest success have learned to embrace it the best, right? Have learned to understand that this thing may seem like it may be an inconvenience or it may be challenging, but on the other side of this is always that reward, that fulfillment that we seek. And and you could probably agree with me too on this, is like the most successful people are empowered people, man. Like they don't operate as victims in their life. They really are in the driver's seat of empowerment. Like it's really, that's the difference, I feel like. And for me, I learned so much from people like yourself, from people, some really successful, down to earth, amazing humans. And it's just that all these things come at us, and it's really just our perspective of how we look at it. You could look at things as being, like the classic saying, the glass half empty or half full. It's really the truth. It's like, we're all looking at situations, we're all dealing with things, but how are we leaning into it? Like, are we embracing it and knowing that there is going to be a reward or fulfillment on the other side? Or are we trying to retract and run away and be a victim? And I just think, like, most people that have got to that level of success have learned to really master that within themselves, that conversation and the perspective of the adversity itself. And I think it's an ever lifelong journey. And that's what makes it so beautiful. And to really just, like, the more we know, the more we learn about ourselves, the more we realize we don't know shit. And I think the most people that I love and I learn from are the ones that are just humble in life, and that's kind of the long answer to your question. Like that's kind of where I'm at with it with past guests, man. Like it's really interesting to see the things that the successful people do versus some of the people that in the past that I've associated with,
Yeah, such a great point. The most successful individuals are driving in the seat of empowerment. I love that. I mean, you have to take ownership of your reality. And all the happy hustlers out there know we talk about this, because you have to really take stock in your everyday reality. If you're not where you want to be right now, you have to own it. If your bank account doesn't reflect the numbers that you want to see, you have to own it and take accountability, because that is a direct result of your choices. Your choices over time compound to equate to your bank account, to equate to your relationships with your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your lover, right? Your friends. All of these compound these choices, and mastering any adversity is really taking ownership, driving in that seat of empowerment, and just transforming your reality one choice at a time. And I love that, man. That's a great point.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
even.
yeah, it's that's the thing too. It's like just it's an ongoing lesson,
Mhm.
like you can think you have it all figured out, then you get thrown a curveball and you're like, oh shit. And then it's easy to go back to the old habits and the old things and this
Yep.
is where like routine and stuff comes. And you could agree with me too. It's like that I've noticed in my life is that the days where I'm not mastering things, I'm not mastering myself, is when I don't master my mornings. And
Mm.
it's been the hardest thing to get down, and I've been realizing like getting up at 4:30 for some reason is a perfect time for me. It's super early, but it's like a discipline that I have to I that I feel like that I need to do. There's certain disciplines in the morning, and it's like if not, when that adversity comes at me, I'm going to be more inclined to play victim if I didn't set myself up in the mornings.
Preach,
And,
brother.
and I know you know that, and I'm really
Yeah.
realizing it. Like it's
Yeah.
like how we make decisions later on in the day. It all comes down to how we start our day.
Oh, so true. Yeah, you win the day in the morning. And I don't know, do you know Craig Ballantyne by chance?
Yeah, I had him on the show a while
Oh,
back.
did
Yeah,
you?
he's awesome.
Yeah, cool dude. He's coming on the Happy House podcast soon, and he sent me a whole bunch of his books and
Yeah,
stuff. And
same.
yeah, he says something, and I have it on my whiteboard right here because I love it. Control your mornings, conquer the chaos of your afternoons, and concentrate on what really matters in the evenings. I'm
Mm,
like, that's genius. It's so
yeah.
simple, but
Mm,
control your mornings first and foremost. You have to get up early,
mhm,
win the morning, you know, get your hydration dialed in, get your meditation, your gratitude, your movement,
mm,
whatever it looks like for you. Everyone has a little bit different routine, but I think those are some staples of every successful routine, in the morning.
mhm.
Then in the afternoon, shit's gonna fly at you. Calls are gonna come in, emails are gonna slide in the inbox, DMs, whatever, notifications. Conquer the chaos of your afternoons.
Mm.
And then in the evening, wrap it up and concentrate on what really matters, like put your phone down, unplug from your devices, get outside, connect with your lover or your friends, or go fishing or go hiking or sit on the beach in Costa like Lance is,
Yeah.
because that's what's up. I mean, I love that you're down in Costa Rica, just, living that life because that's what it's about. Nothing's guaranteed in this life and we don't know how long we're going to be here. So
Mm,
you might as well own it and
mm.
enjoy it. And those three steps, control, conquer, and concentrate have really, I've done it, you know, in my own way. But when he put it down like that, I was like, ooh, that's some good stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's a great thing too, because I know his philosophies kind of get at it right away, do the hardest thing. And you know what I love about it is like everybody's different, and I invite everybody listening too to like try different things out.
Mm,
Like try if you want to just get work right away, try that. If you want to meditate, what gets you feeling the best, and I think we don't ever know until we try. It's like, eating as well. There's so many ways, so many people have different ways. It's like, well, we got to try these things in order to figure out. And we're all our unique instrument. So we have to fine tune it uniquely to what works for us. And, you could take a little bit of that from them, a little bit of that from them. And that's a beautiful thing. It's like we can create our own story, our own
yep.
journey. And I think that morning and really figuring out like what works for you the best is like
Mm,
it's so important, and it's a beautiful thing because depending on where you are in the world too, like your routine's going to be different, right? If it's snow outside, your routine may be a bit different than mine, or if that's the interesting thing too. It's like, and it's okay to change. It's okay to adapt to a different routine also, right?
yeah.
Which
Yeah,
I
man.
find really cool.
Yeah, you got to pivot, you got to evolve, and you have to learn something new every day. That's part of, the first alignment that I teach in the Happy Hustle framework is persistent personal development and learning something new every day. And for me, I put it in this 90-minute structured routine, reading every morning for 30 minutes, listening to maybe the Happy Hustle podcast or the University Adversity podcast, listening to something educational and inspirational in the afternoon. And then at the evening time, watching something that's inspirational and educational, and taking from those, that 90 minutes, what works, what's, relevant to where I'm at right now, and implementing it. So I love that you're talking about, growing every day, and just, fine tuning our unique instrument, because I think it's such a good analogy, because everyone's a little different, and we got different stuff. So what might work for one won't work for another, so.
Totally.
Lance, I want to get into a little bit of your backstory, and I want to ask you, what was your first hustle? What was the first thing you did for money?
I think it was selling yeah, I remember we used to have to fundraise for elementary school for, I forget what it was for, but we had to go around and door to door selling chocolate covered almonds. And, it's funny because back then I didn't care. I was knocking on the doors. Like, there was no limited beliefs of what are they going to say? It was just knock, knock, chocolate covered almond. And, and I remember that because, like, actually I was gonna say paper route, but chocolate covered almonds was the first hustle, and I think I did pretty good at that, man. It was a lot of fun.
Dude, that's great.
What was yours?
That's hilarious. Knock, knock, chocolate covered almonds. That is I mean, if I had a little kid come up to me and knock on my door and just lead with just chocolate covered almonds, I would for sure buy. Like, you can't not buy.
Take my money. My money.
So good. Oh yeah. Mine was, initially, I had a lawn service business where I would cut grass for the neighborhood, and then I started slanging the juice, a little lemonade here and there. And then I started doing construction, which was quite awful, digging like 30-foot trenches as like a 8-year-old. But he builds character anyway. And that's not even counting the chores around the the property and whatnot. But yeah, man, it's interesting. So you grew up in Canada, right? And I want to if it's cool with you, I want to talk about some of the adversity you faced, because you faced quite a lot. And it's an interesting story of yours. And usually we like to keep it nice and light and fluffy and the happy hustle, but we're talking adversity, and we're talking mastering it. And I want to go there if it's cool with you. And I know, you face some of the most difficult challenges one could face in terms of adversity, with addiction and drugs and loss, of your family members. Give us a little context into some of that adversity that you faced, man.
Yeah. So it all started out. I had a really good childhood. I had a lot of love, regular fighting and that kind of stuff happened, but like I had a lot of love. But where things really got squirrely is when I moved across the country, had to leave my mom and my family. I moved this is kind of, it was like a chain of events here. So I went from being the cool kid to the loser kid. I got bullied really badly. I had to move schools, and that really messed with a lot of my confidence. I'm still dealing with it today, bro. This is the stuff I go back to.
Damn.
Like, where did this all happen? Where did things get sideways? And it goes back to these years. So that was really tough. My dad got remarried to a woman with 4 kids. She was a stepwoman from hell. She made our lives hell for 20 years.
Wow.
During that time, I was trying to make it professional in hockey. I was completely lost. I never felt a really safe foundation at home. She was making our lives hell. I missed my mom. I missed my family, all that, trying to make it in sports. It was tough, but everybody goes through tough times. But as a teen, when I discovered alcohol, as an athlete, as a kid who was going through a lot of different trauma, it was easy for me to gravitate towards it. I jumped into it. It allowed me to kind of hide, allowed me to really just create this new identity of confidence, which was like a fake identity, but it was what it was. And I just was very irresponsible. My last year of hockey, I was trying to make it pro, trying to get a scholarship. I played around with some steroids, messed up my body, and potentially cost me my career. From then, things went downhill. I didn't know who I was. As an athlete, there's a loss of identity when you play a sport, as you can probably relate. who am I? What do I do? All I know is this. You can only tell the story that you played at this level for so long before people are like, well, now what? So
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not a hockey player anymore. It's 5 years, like you. So I was trying to figure that out. I did all the things, tried all the things. I gravitated towards the bar industry. I went through a ton of, I had an amazing time. I allowed to work the best bars in Vancouver, got to move to Australia, some of the highest and lowest moments of my life. But, through that journey, came the two very difficult things that happened: losing my brother to suicide, my dad to cancer within like a year and a half, which was really, really, really tough. Yeah. So this is a really, these are like the pinnacle moments now, because I do a lot of reflection on my own, my life, and like where do I still need to like attend to in certain areas, because I feel it's important for me moving forward. And those were the areas that really hit me hard. So losing my dad and brother was one of these events where it really forced me to think about the direction of my life. And thank God, prior to that, 6 months before my dad passed, I had given up booze for a year. So I quit drinking for a year. I was still running a bar sober in Sydney, Australia, but I started to get into personal development, and I started to, heal myself, so to speak. Because my whole life, while, for almost 2 decades, was just digging myself out of holes every single day. Everywhere I worked, everything was always like, I was never on top of things. And then when I was sober, it was like I was building on the foundation instead of digging myself out of a hole. So that was really where things, started to change. And I created the podcast. And those are some real, like, snippet adversity moments that, make up who I am today. And, I don't identify with them anymore, but they're definitely things that I pay attention to, and they shaped who I am. So, those are some of the moments, and, I continue to really be blessed and grateful for all of them, because they make up who I am today. So.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I think it's difficult to face that type of adversity, and it shows up in so many different ways. And it seems when it rains, it pours, like when things are going south, they go real south. And, they really do shape our character and who we are as a person. What would you say? I'm just curious, what would you say to someone who is potentially going through adversity right now of, let's say, loss of a loved one? What would you say that maybe helped you persevere past that adversity? Something that maybe is, a piece of wisdom that you could share.
Two things. Number one, don't drink during the time I know you want to. It's going to make you feel a lot worse. Do yourself a favor, do your healing a favor, do your soul a favor, and don't do your best. I invite you to not drink. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to do yourself any favors. Number two, allow yourself to grieve, to feel. A lot of times in our society, we don't allow ourselves to feel these things. We brush them off. It's really important that you identify what is going on. Because if you don't identify it and process it now, it's going to show up as, it's going to be stored as trauma. It's going to show up later. You're going to attract things. That's how things happen. They get stored in our subconscious, and people don't realize that, like, if that stuff isn't dealt with, then other things manifest from it. And really important to just be kind to yourself and realize, like, this is happening. Journal, get yourself a journal, really process the feelings, sit with it, feel it. If it takes days, that's okay. Cry, like, feel it. My grandma recently passed away. She was 94, and my mom was like super upset. And I was like, growing up, it's like, oh, don't cry, it's going to be okay. It's like, no, go ahead, feel it. You're a human. It's part of the human experience. Feel it, cry, swear, journal, get that out, because that is going to allow you to process it and move forward better than just like shrugging it off. Because, I believe that if we shrug things off too much and don't process it, that it never really goes away. So that would be my advice to people, like, that it's okay. Like, we're all going through loss. And, like, just because you're upset or sad or pissed off, it's all okay. It's all part of the human experience. So feel the things, but don't sit in there too long. Like, you feel it, process it, and then move on to the next, because we can't, the longer we sit in it, the worse things get. But we do have to make sure that we address the issue for sure.
Yeah, man, that's so well said. Yeah, like because it really does get stored as trauma in your subconscious. I've
Yeah.
witnessed this,
Yeah.
personally. We all have, I'm sure. And a lot of our past traumas in childhood do reappear as triggers as adults. And you're
Yeah.
like not even sometimes aware of how that manifested, but it does. And you'll oftentimes need to go back and process and feel and release. It's tough to face those demons. It's tough to forgive. It's tough to, love again if you've been wronged and hurt and cheated on or whatnot, or if you've had loss
Totally.
or, some type of addiction, and you got to feel your way through it and release it. But it's part of mastering adversity. It's part of evolving. Mm,
Totally. Yeah, totally.
mm,
And I just really believe and really offer that to people. It's like, just be kind to yourself. It's okay to feel what you're
yeah.
feeling. Exactly what you're feeling is okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Yeah. Be here, be now, be still, be present, and just feel it. I think tapping into the present moment and then finding gratitude,
Uh,
when when you are facing adversity. Okay, great. Look down at your hands. Do you got 10 fingers? Oh, find gratitude for that. Do you got 10 toes? Start there. Like
yes.
there's people who don't have 10 toes and 10 fingers. There's people who, you know, don't even have the ability to speak, to breathe like on their own, or, to even see. Like we can find gratitude for just about everything in our lives and everything that's not in our lives. If we don't have a disease or, some type of ailment, like gratitude is the way out of your head and into your heart, right? I
Dude,
know you're a big
gratitude
proponent.
it
Yeah.
changed my life, man.
Yeah.
It's that's the number one thing that changed my life.
Mm.
And people always ask, well, what was the thing? Like, and people, I always say, you're not going to like this answer. It's the simplest thing. Like
Yeah.
it's being grateful. It's getting a journal and writing it down, like really understanding and feeling these things. Grateful. Like you can't, that's why I love Joe Dispenza too. It's like being grateful is the ultimate level of receivership,
Mhm.
because if you are present, you cannot be fully present if you're not grateful.
Yep.
Like every single thing, whether you think it's a bad thing or a good thing, it's all the human experience. We should, like, gratitude is everything. And when we're not, do you notice that's when things go kind of sideways, is when we're not, you're like, oh shit, I'm being an ungrateful prick right now.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm living for myself.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing too, dude. When I find myself really like full of, which isn't often, but when I find myself stressed or like anxious or, on edge or like short, I look at, okay, when's the last time I gave? When's the last time I selflessly served someone? And that's, one of the alignments of being a happy hustler is selfless service, because really, truly, when you give to others, it's like it's almost like a parable, but the more you give, the better off you are. It's
Yeah, I
selfish
know.
to give because it feels great. It's
Yeah.
fulfilling to give to others. So find a cause, find a person in need. You can give your time, you can give your expertise, you can give your money. If you don't have your money, give your time. If you don't have an expertise, give your money. Like figure out what is a way to get out of whatever adversity you're facing and give to others. And for me, I like to automate my giving in some capacity. Like I have money that just gets taken from my bank account every single month for social entrepreneurial causes through an app and web portal called Kiva.
Mm.
This is a great way to give for me because I know what's happening in the background, KIVA. There's also, if you don't like donate your time to a boys and girls club or to a like, I'm starting to work with the Native Americans here in Montana because I just feel terrible about what happened to their whole, civil, like we destroyed their entire culture, their people, many largely in part, like they're persevering because they're warriors, but it's a damn shame. And so I feel called to serve that cause. Whatever it is for you,
Yeah.
figure it out, guys. Wherever you're at listening, figure out what cause speaks to you. And if you're not being grateful or you're being a little, more selfish lately, give to others, and it'll transform your whole day. So anyway, we got on a tangent there, but I think it was a good one.
I love it.
Yeah, dude. Well, speaking of like writing things down and journaling and whatnot, I know you got this book that you wrote down. Talk to us a little bit about the book and where people can get it, because I think it's such a valuable topic that's universal, mastering adversity.
Yeah. So I like to listen, and one of my skills that I've been trying to hone is listening to my intuition about like big events, like big, like one of them was coming to Costa Rica, one of them was writing books. Like there's these real big things that I think in life we get the nudge and we ignore. And this book was one of those things that I knew I needed to do. And it's been happening for a while. So, I've interviewed over 300 people on my show, and I got a crazy story. So I want to tie it all in together. Like I want to create a field manual for the students of life, like the battlefield, like it's my crazy story, my journey, what I've learned, better understanding, reflection, and compassion that I have for myself in how I face adversity, and tying that in with all the brilliant minds like yourself, the inspiration, the knowledge, the spiritual growth, all of the things that I've experienced along my way to where I'm at, and all the things that all these amazing minds have, and create a tangible resource for people. And, that's where I feel is just it's the perfect point for where I'm at in my life. It's like, I want to give that. I want to be able to have a book like that, because, a book like Tools of the Titans, Tim Ferriss, changed my life. And although it's going to be a lot different than that, dude, that book, when I went sober in 2017, not only was that book a great pillow for the beach because it's so thick.
Oh yeah, it's huge.
It was just such a valuable tool for like looking at the people who are winning and going, I like that. This is easy. I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that. And that was perfect. So I always felt called to kind of do something like that. It's not going to be the same, but it's going to be, we don't like how it's all going to turn out. We're just in the beginning process of it right now still. And I'm really excited to share that, because it's something I'm very passionate about, and it's the next step of my evolution. And I feel like my passion and my heart into this whole, really empowering people is going to pour out in the book. So yeah, we're running a crowdfunding campaign. It all came together again through a really interesting way. And for me, it felt great to have the support, to be able to see if people give a shit, see how it all comes, because, we all deal with limited beliefs, especially, in myself. I've dealt with, stuff in my confidence dealing back to when I'm a teenager. And it's like, do people care? And this process of this crowdfunding campaign has been great because we can, put together different packages for people that they want to get involved in, whether it's a book, whether it's the University of Adversity Summit or coaching, podcast coaching, whatever. And they can just kind of choose that. And that way they can support the book and the publishing of it and all of that. And yeah, if anyone feels called to check it out, it's all, I would say the best way to go is go to my Instagram. There's into the bio, and it's the top of the link on the bio, and it's all there. There's a video there of me yapping away and probably wearing the same shirt I'm wearing now. But it's good. I try and be as real and authentic with this whole process as I can. And I hope that, if somebody finds value in it, that they support it. So.
Yeah, man, it's definitely worth checking out. All the happy hustlers out there, this is someone who has he's mastering adversity still. I like that you say that. You never master it fully, but you mastering adversity, and you learn from some of the absolute most brilliant minds out there in the world who also who are in the process of mastering adversity, aggregated into book form, where you guys can shortcut your learning curve and actually save yourself time, money, resources, tears, potential adversity by actually reading the book, maybe attending the summit. Talk to us a little bit about the summit too, Lance. What's coming up with that?
Yeah. So it's going to be called the University of Adversity Summit. around the podcast has been a huge part of my life, and it's where I feel called in my journey is to build more community. And I know you do a great job with that, Cary, like building that community. And for me, it's something that I've felt a little bit hesitant for my own issues, my own beliefs, but I've wanted to create this because the world needs it, and I feel like I'm robbing people of that if I don't show up. So the summit is going to be comprised of like some of the best, most inspiring speakers, most knowledgeable that we've had on, and kind of really, and I mean, it'd be great to have you on too, if you want to come on and drop some fire, brother.
Yeah, I'll rock the mic.
Yeah. And I'm going to go through kind of short spurts, like 20, 30 minutes. And it's just going to be boom, 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 actionable steps, who, an expert in that area, and really leave people feeling empowered. So it's going to be 3 days, 6 speakers each day. We're still putting together a lot of the details, but we got a couple big headliners coming in. Dan Fleischman just secured the headliner speaker. Amberly Lago, another very inspiring woman. So we're really building it out now. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be May 21st. And yeah, I'm really excited to have it. And I think people are going to get a lot of value. And, it's all about empowering people, going from living in the backseat of your life as a victim into the driver's seat of empowerment. That's really the focus. And yeah, I'd love to have people attend. All information is in the campaign. We're also going to be doing other ways to promote the event outside of the campaign also.
Got it. So that everyone, who's interested can just go to Lance Essihos on Insta, right?
Yeah, Lance.Essihos. Yeah.
.Essihos. You can click the link in his bio, check out, the book, support it if you feel called to support it, attend the, awesome online summit, learn how to really empower yourself to the next level and learn from some of the greatest who are doing just that. I mean, I think I'll definitely be there, whether I'm speaking at it or attending, probably both. So very cool, brother.
I'd love to have you come on and speak, man. You drop fire, and your energy is inspiring everybody. Everybody listening to this knows that. So, yeah. And if somebody wants to DM and if they don't want to go through the crowdfunding campaign, DM me and we can talk about how we're going to, move from the other side. I want to invite people to have the options to get involved. So however, we got other options too.
Awesome, brother. Well, I want to get into some of the happy hustle hacks, I like to call them, in terms of multiple disciplines. And this is something I like to ask all my guests, like some happy hustle hacks, tangible tools, tips, tactics that you use specifically first in health, because I know you're big into health and performance. We all realize that health equals wealth. If you don't already, if you don't have your health, what do you have? That is an essential priority. So let's start there. What is a happy hustle hack that you use for your health, Lance, that maybe you could share with the happy hustlers?
This has been such an evolving thing that changes so much. I'm still trying to figure out the best things. I really like, I like the infrared sauna. We got one here.
Nice.
And that really does something to my brain. I mean, the science behind it. If the saunas in general, I hadn't been in one for a while, and I went in one recently, and I started getting, and I'm like, oh man, I missed this. I know it creates heat shock proteins, and, definitely does something to your brain. We'll have to ask Rhonda Patrick when she's on the show.
Yeah.
But that's a huge one. If you got the opportunity to go in the sauna or cold shower, shock the body if you can.
Love that. And I'm a huge proponent of my infrared sauna and Therasage.com. Robbie and Melody, a family-owned company, they're actually support the show and have been one of our key sponsors since the beginning. And I'm super grateful for them because I really do stand behind their products and services. And they have a badass portable and affordable infrared sauna that I have right upstairs. I think I've talked to you maybe about it, or you've probably seen some of me in there, but really, you burn calories sitting on your bum, increasing the blood flow circulation, decreasing the inflammation in your body, which a lot of disease stems from that inflammation, right? And there's so many benefits with the heat shock proteins. I mean, it's definitely a worthy cause. If you guys do want to get one, shameless plug here, therasage.com, use code happy to get the hookup and save yourself some moolah. But great tip there, man, because I really do believe in it. And I think it's a game changer. You know, cold thermogenesis, ice baths, they suck getting in, but when you get out, they feel great. And then getting hot. That's a great one. Let's talk about money. I know you've made a bunch. I know you've probably lost a bunch. Let's talk about a happy hustle hack for money that you use that you think you could, potentially benefit the happy hustlers by sharing.
Well, I try to invest in things that feel good, like, in my heart, and less about, I don't know, like there's a couple companies that I've invested in and even into myself that it's the people that I have to have a feeling. I have to get a certain feeling for me to want to do it. And sometimes if it's not there, then if I don't feel that great about the person or then, I don't really especially when it comes to like companies, especially startups and that kind of thing. Yeah. It's a lot of it is, for me, it's intuition, how it feels when I initially hear it, and it's like, I don't have that mastered at all. So let's be honest there. But, financially, I've been fortunate enough in certain areas where, I can invest a little bit. And that's kind of where I'm at right now with that, is just like going off, what feels right from what I know, from the research I do to how I feel. And that's the best I can do. I don't have any real like hacks or any sort of like kind of thing. What is yours? So I get some context.
Well, I mean, it depends on each interview. But for me, it's diversification. I know it seems like a timeless principle, but I've really now diversified, like I'm buying sports cards, I'm buying crypto, I'm buying Tesla stock. Like I've had Tesla stock since back at 276 before the split. Like I believed in that company, like you said, with intuition. So I buy in, I diversify my portfolio, and that's really been a game changer for me. And then another thing that really has helped me grow my net worth is using tech to automate deposits. Particularly, I use Acorns. I know there's other sites out there. I like Acorns. It pulls from my bank account every single purchase that I make with my credit cards. It will round up so say I pay, 25 cents for a pack of gum. It'll take that 75 cents and round it up to my account. And it basically just auto invests for me. And then also it withdraws a lump sum every single month. And then it invests into my portfolio at a moderate or depending on what your risk tolerance is. So that's been a great tool.
That's incredible, man. That's incredible.
Yeah, dude. And then you look at that account and you're like, oh shit, there's like 20 G's in there. It's like happens like that.
That's incredible, man. I love that.
Yeah, write it down.
You got all these little acorns. Yeah, but see the thing in Canada, man, we don't have cool things. We don't even have
it's global.
We don't even have Venmo, man.
I'm pretty sure Acorns is global, man. It's all,
right.
digital. Yeah. But yeah, those are just some. I mean, and for anyone out there, I'm happy to dive deeper into this. Just, reach out. But like for me, I'm really now investing, saving, and spending wisely is just the principles of long-term success. And when it comes to finances, like I look at money as a tool. The more I make, the more I can give. And truthfully, that's how I see it. But it is also a scoreboard, it's like, how much value are you giving to the world? So if you're not, financially abundant right now, well, maybe you're not given the value that, is possible. Right. So for anyone out there, it starts first and foremost with financial literacy, educating yourself, and that's it. So one book that I always like to recommend is I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. Have you read that one?
No.
Dude, read that book. It'll change your life. I bought into like a target date fund through my IRA, and it's already made me like 10 G's just from reading that book.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Read the book. It's worth it. And I have no
Amazing.
affiliation. I don't get any,
Yeah.
Kickbacks. I need to talk to Ramit because I've
Yeah, you
recommended
should.
enough. Yeah. I did talk to him actually recently. Yeah, I was going to see if he wanted to come on the show. He might.
100% he
Debating.
will.
Yeah. So let's talk about spirituality. This one I know you're gonna have a really great response because I know you're deep into spirituality, and I like to talk about just tapping into a higher power. Not necessarily one god or another, but like really tapping into a higher power. What is a happy hustle hack for your spirituality that you use?
Well, doing ayahuasca was definitely a happy hustle hack.
Yes, it
It
is.
was, it showed me things that it scared me and showed me things that were, it's probably some of the most important spiritual lessons I've ever seen in my life. It was all stuff I knew intuitively. It just showed me, like, gave me a slap in the face. So that was a big hack. That brought a lot of, that was a huge learning curve. It was years of education in 1 week. But to answer your question, on a daily basis, I go to sit in meditation, stillness, whatever you want to call it. I have to do that to program my day because my thoughts can get pretty chaotic. And if I don't give myself that time, I do 30 minutes a day. It's pretty religious. Well, not religious as in like religion, but
Yeah.
religiously as in like,
Discipline.
yeah. It's funny why we say words like that and we know what they mean, but like we don't really mean them.
Yeah, right.
I have to do that, man, because I notice my days when I don't win or when I'm struggling are the days I didn't give myself that. So it's like that,
Mhm.
some sort of gratitude and reading, just like you do. It's like, I have to do that to center myself for later. And that's like, for me, spirituality has been the most important aspect. And really, spirituality to me is the amount of acceptance and self-love that you have for yourself and your story. And that's a daily practice. And the more love I have for myself and acceptance I have for myself, the more I have that for others every single day. So, and that comes every single day from tapping into source, God, Buddha, whatever you want to call it. And for me, I get there with meditation, breath work, and journaling. So that's what I have to do every day.
Yeah, man. Love that. It definitely is about tapping in, giving yourself that space to feel, to connect,
Yeah.
to just be present. But also, I like that you mentioned plant medicine because that is a happy hustle hack. I did 4 ayahuasca ceremonies down in Costa Rica as well. I don't know how many ceremonies did you do?
4.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean,
That's Saltara. Where'd you do yours?
I had arrhythmia.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It was an eye opener. I will just say this. I didn't have an experience on 3 of the 4. I had a nada where you basically it was basically by design. I went, full warrior mode and I was like super into biohacking at the time and like I blocked my mind so the medicine didn't affect me. That was like probably a defense mechanism. However, when I did let go, whew, boy, oh boy, the demons were out, but also the love was out. And I released and I forgave myself and those who wronged me and the pain and the trauma from my childhood and beyond. And it really was a healing process. Talk to us about, maybe if you could, just in a synopsis. I know it's tough because you do have like 10 years of therapy in like one night. But give us just like maybe your number one takeaway from the experience with plant medicine.
Yeah. So I feel like the plant knows you're doing it for 4 nights. So she strategically lays it out.
Yes,
And
yes.
if that's crazy, whoever's you guys listening, trust me, you'll understand when you do it.
Yeah.
There's something about it. Some things we can't understand. There's a universal intelligence, life force energy. We don't know, but that was, there's a lot of, so here's the main things that I got. Number one was the second night, I went in with the intention of like, how do I fully love myself? Because I'd asked the maestro, I said, like, there's a block. There's something in me that I feel like I know I have this potential, but I don't know how to get there. He's like, you need to have self-love, in order to fully love others, you need to love yourself. And I know that in theory, right? I've been saying that, preaching that. So I thought, oh, great. This is going to be an easy night. It was not easy, bro. Like I had to live in my shadow. I had to basically the whole synopsis of that night was, in order to fully love yourself, you need to love your shadow. You need to love your darkness just as much as you love the light. In order to fully embrace the light, you need to fully embrace the dark. In order to fully love, you need to fully understand, the darkness. And I had a lot of stuff come up that I was spiritually bypassing a lot of my feelings, where I was like kind of like pushing them away. And I felt that those needed to get dealt with, and I didn't know it. And so I just had to sit the entire night, and she was like, and it was dark. It was like the scariest bad dream I've ever been in. And I had to sit in there till 6 a.m. And then I couldn't leave. I was too scared. And then when I left, I saw the light, and I'd never been so happy. It was the most blissful thing I've ever experienced. So the message was, our shadows are all invited to dinner. The good, the bad, the ugly, they're all part of us. They're all part of the story, the unique makeup of our life, the puzzle pieces. It's okay. Again, like accepting that and being okay with that. And I didn't for the longest time. The other one was, I really tapped into seeing my real potential and believing in myself. On my third night, I literally went to a different place. And there's a lot of times where I struggle with belief in myself and what I'm doing, and a lot of confidence issues. When I say that, people are like, really, you're not confident? It's something that has been challenging for me because of the story that I told in this episode. But I, excuse me, sorry.
I think a lot of people can relate to that though, man. Truthfully.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, totally. And this is why I love to share this, because it helps. I know that it helps people when I share. It gives people permission to think about, oh, okay, he feels like that too. And that's where I like to be. And that's where I feel like I can serve, is kind of sharing that. So I actually saw and felt the person that I want to be in the moment. Like, how we talk about, you want to be in that person, like you want to try feel that now, like to manifest. You want to be what you want to be, that person that has already, what does it feel like to be successful right now? The person you want to be. Dude, I've never felt so dialed into like my purpose. Like I lived it already. It was like I was just remembering, holy shit, I know this already. Like I felt what it was like. And I saw myself for the first time as somebody would look at me as being like, dude, this guy's successful. Wow. Like I saw myself that way for the first time. And that may sound, I don't know what that would sound like to others, but we don't always see ourselves the way others see us.
Yeah.
And this really showed me my real true potential. And I actually felt it and saw it, and is exactly what I needed to get out of that block that I was in, because I believe that we're all capable of greatness, but stories get in the way. Stories of why they didn't work before, they cloud our present moment. And my download was like, everything needs to be a clean slate today. Today is fresh. You can do these things. And a lot of it is not discovering who we are, but it's remembering who we are. And the medicine helped me remember the potential and see that within myself. And I felt it. I felt that we were connected to this life force energy, just universal intelligence. And that if I can create from that place every single day, then I can't fail. That was the message. And man, it was the most powerful experience of my life. And
wow,
it was those things, there were so many metaphors and so many realizations and feelings that I got, that I was like, this is like, you couldn't have been better. It couldn't have been a better storyline, and there was more to it the next night and everything, but just to keep, everybody I have a solo episode. I unpack the entire journey, but they can listen to, but this was kind of like the synopsis. Those were the two main things that I really wanted to hit home. And like, if somebody feels called to doing it, this isn't for everybody, but this is a real tool at really showing you what you already know intuitively and bringing it into the light and forcing you to look at the darkness that you may not want to look at. So
Yeah, brother. So true. Love that. I mean, you guys definitely, I urge you to listen to that solo episode if you want to know more. It's not for everyone. You must be called to do the medicine, and it is one of those decisions that you should really, meditate on it and do your due diligence. Because there is now a lot of like fake gurus and spiritual guides out there, so you do want to make sure you go to a legit place too, like the one Lance and I went to. Both different places but both legit, so make sure you do your due diligence. But yeah, we got on a tangent there again too, but I liked it and I think it was valuable. So let's wrap up the happy hustle hacks with one last one, and this is regarding entrepreneurship, and then I want to get to the rapid fire round, and then we will wrap this bad boy up. But let's talk about entrepreneurship, a happy hustle hack for entrepreneurship that you can share.
Plan, really get clear on everything. This is something that I'm going back and doing with my business model, and something that I probably should have gotten better with in the beginning of my podcast journey, is that really getting clear as to like, why are you doing this? Who is it for? Where are you sending these people? Like stuff that seems really obvious, but we need to get super clear on in the beginning, as you obviously do. But I think a lot of people in entrepreneurship kind of jump in on the inspiration, and they want to do this thing, but they don't plan.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I want to do this thing. Yeah, but okay. But like planning and having a proper plan in the beginning is going to help you get through the adversity when it comes at you in your business, because it's coming, right?
Yeah.
The challenge is, if you don't have a plan, you're going to crumble. And you see it in people that start podcasts. You see people that start businesses. People fail because they don't plan. And that's what I would say as an entrepreneur, like, great, do it, but just do yourself a favor and get clear in the beginning. Like really get clear. And it's going to save you so much trouble later on, because right now for myself, I'm like, oh man, I got to get more clear, and it's back to the drawing board. And that's okay. Your messaging can change and all that, but do yourself a favor if you're starting out. Get clear, plan.
Appreciate it, brother. Love that. Now let's dive into the rapid fire round, Lance. This is where I basically just ask you random questions and you answer honestly first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Favorite movie? Go.
Oh, I gotta say Goodfellas for the old school. Yeah, good. Let's just say Goodfellas.
Love it. Favorite food?
Steak.
Favorite book?
The book that I gotta say, the one that changed for spirituality for me, The Power of Now. Power of Now is probably.
Yep.
I don't know if that's my favorite, but that's coming to me.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
What's your spirit animal?
Deer.
Oh, damn, I've never heard that. Best business advice?
Believe in yourself, or nobody else will.
Ooh, love that. If you had to have one billboard that basically was your last piece of content, your last message to the world, what would that billboard say?
Use your story to serve.
Love it. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Time machine. Be able to go back different time.
Yeah. One word you wish to be synonymous with your name for the rest of your life.
Inspiration.
And 3 things you're most grateful for right now.
I'm grateful for my ability to be able to be human and create and live the human experience. I'm grateful for Costa Rica for providing me an environment that I can create in abundance. And I'm grateful for this conversation right now to be able to share our medicine in a powerful way that is going to create a ripple effect in the world today and forever.
Love that, brother. I appreciate you, man. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge you for sharing your love, your light, your wisdom, Lance, man. You're a true gem, definitely a happy hustler. And I honor you, man, and appreciate you rocking the mic. Now, final question. And before I do, I just want to, ask you, where can people go to learn more about you? Again, give us some links, and where people can go to get the book again.
Yeah, just go to my social media, Lance Essihos, and website's going to be ready to go soon, lanceessihos.com. Super easy. Just you could Google my name. There's not many of me out there. So,
Yeah.
and Instagram is best for the crowdfunding campaign. It's easy. Go to the link tree, the bio, the link. If I'm sure everybody knows what the bio is, but if not, it's that thing on the bio. How do you explain the bio if somebody doesn't know where the bio is?
People know the bio. People know
Okay,
the
good.
bio.
Okay.
We'll link it up in the show notes too, so no worries.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts or any final parting messages before I ask you the final question?
I just want to say thank you, brother. I love your energy and your uplifting presence that you always bring. I'm truly grateful for you, brother. Thank you so much. This has been amazing.
Yeah, man, for sure. Right back at you. Now, final question. What does happy hustling mean to you, Lance?
It means finding a balance in your life to be able to move forward in a playful way, be able to honor your truth in a playful way, and still execute with conviction.
Boom. Mic drop. That was gold, baby. Lance Essihos, everyone. Thanks for watching and listening. We out. Peace and love.
Thanks, everybody.